Hello, hello. Anna Malus Kidsman in the Good Company podcast. Weekly dose of inspiration, motivation, thought provocation, all with the intention to have more juicy, more beautiful, more aligned life. To live to the fullest. Sometimes I have guests. I haven't had a guest in a long time. I really did not come across somebody that is really inspiring me and wanted to come on here. But it's another solo. It will be a fun one because this is a story how Sugar Daddy healed me further. Okay. Hold on. Hold on to your chairs because, yes, trust me, Sugar Daddy healed me. As weird as it may sound. Okay, so one preface is that for a hot second, I was like, oh, I'm going to say that, I witnessed the Sugar Daddy situation arrangement. And I was like, I kind of didn't want to say that I had to still drive Uber, Lyft for a few days, for sometimes a day. Again, I think it's this shame coming up. So I'm going to say it out loud. Yes, I still a few hours a day, couple hours a day drive Lyft to support my family, to pay my bills, to bring in some money, and there's no shame in that. Okay, so I got Lyft riders, and it was a couple. And when they get in, it was just obvious. Like from the conversation, the car is small. Like even if you try not to eardrop, like you are in there and you hear it. And it definitely was a situation of Sugar Daddy and a sugar girlfriend. He was like, I think in his early 60s, she was in her 30s. And oh my God, the second they got in, I and started listening and kind of figure out what's going on, I got so aggravated. Like the whole emotions that were like coming through me, I was like, I could drive this car, but I was like, oh my God, I feel anger, I feel frustration, I feel just such a sadness. But then I feel some jealousy, but then I feel like it was just like a tornado. It was just, I have not been triggered like this in a long time, which I am very proud of because I think I did a lot of work and a lot of things don't trigger me anymore. But so when they trigger me, and this is the preface on all this episode, again and again, I'm going to repeat it. When something triggers you, it's a gift. It's a gift. It's an amazing gift. You say, like they say in Kabbalah, welcome, what a pleasure. And you just dissect it and look into it and ask question and observe yourself within it. So that's what I did. So when I started listening to it, first thing that aggravated me the most was, oh my freaking God. And I remember I'm just coming off reading the Mary Magdalene Revealed, the story of Tekla. In the last episode, I shared these two big books. I think next to the last amazing book that every woman should read. It's about, this first women that were very powerful, that were very potent, that had knowledge and they had influence, and therefore they were lied about. The story were made up about them, like Mary Magdalene, and they were tried to be killed, etc. But you have to read these books. So I'm just coming off these books, and then this woman is sitting in my car, and it's just like in this obvious situation that, hundreds of women were fighting for equal rights, for our power, for being able to be in the same room with men, to vote, to, like, when you think that in 1974 women, first women got their bank accounts, it's like insane. 74. It's like 10 years before I was born. What? You know what I mean? It's like insane. And then this woman consciously, purposely is choosing to be in this situation when man is this powerful in this dynamic, in this arrangement. But then I'm thinking, is he? Or is she pulling the shots? This is all my like thinking while I'm driving this car. And I was like, because really when you think about it, like she is pulling the shots, right? Like she is hopefully consciously in this situation. From what I heard, she was. And so she is kind of, using all her assets as a woman, like using everything she have to whatever achieve the goal of life she wants, right? And I'm here cutting my veins, driving frigging Lyft daily. Like, who is smarter here? She is or am I? You know what I mean? But obviously, when I think about it, for me, like the journey is as important as destination. You know what I mean? Like I think I had a little bit different values, but who knows if I get put in that situation. You know what I mean? Like maybe she really likes him. Maybe I don't know some stuff. That's the other thing that came out of it. But we are going to like results versus what was triggering me. So that was the first thing that was triggering me. So this idea of like, oh my God, all these women fought, all these women sacrifice, so we are in a position more advantageous than we used to be, and then here we go, we take 7 steps back and play this game and put ourselves in this arrangement. So that was first trigger. Second trigger was she was sugaring him up so much that I was like, you know how you eat dessert and it's too sweet? Like it's like a sweet that is like almost cringing your insides and face. It's so sweet. That's how her compliments to him were. Like the voice, the compliments, the constant like affirmation of him. Like I was sitting there and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to throw up from all this sugar. And that also made me think, it's like there is something, because obviously like complimenting somebody is not bad, but obviously in this arrangement situation, it has its very strategic and specific and not authentic and honest purpose. And it did not feel authentic. And I think that really aggravates me, that it was not authentic. Like this whole sugaring was so dishonest. It felt like it. Like when I listened to it, like you can feel sometimes, you know what I mean? Like you can energetically feel that it's just like such a BS. And like the way she was saying it, it was just like, oh. So that was the second thing that aggravated me. I have to observe myself, like what is aggravating me in this situation? Like why it's aggravating myself. And then, I went home and I journal about it and I wrote about it and I recorded a voice memos about it to kind of digest it. And I was thinking about my, the relationships I witnessed growing up. There were a lot of toxic and dysfunctional relationships that are memorable to me that I witnessed. And I think that was aggravating me. So that was like something that came up that needed to be healed, that, this is a part of a different history. And this is not my present, not my future, right? It's like, it's something that was lingering, this energy that was contracted within me about this relationship. And then also I was thinking and I was dissecting, and still am, this my relationship to power dynamics within the relationship. I am coming from a lineage of very strong women, and the relationship, and also like I think when you are in Poland, like women, even though it looks like a very traditional and conservative, the relationship, the marriages in Poland, the family structure, when you get in, like women are usually pulling the shots, like, and that's how it was, how what I witnessed in my family. Like women were very much so very strong and really strategic elements in the family, in my family. And I think that's how, I always laugh with Adam. Our relationship is that I am a brain, he's a muscle. You know what I mean? That's how we work. So that popped up. So all these emotions were like boiling. And then I started like, he was, first of all, I want to say that he was like extremely kind to her, extremely kind to me, which was really nice. So that was adding to confusion, because if he was an asshole, that would be much easier digest and understand. And then the other thing that came out of it is this my judgment. This is something I'm working for several years now. I never really act on judgment, but I have my judgments in my head about people and certain situations, and I really want to get rid of it, because this especially this situation really showed me, like, what do I really know? I am just like spending with these people 15 minutes listening to some random conversation between them, know nothing and will know nothing. And who am I here to judge? If this arrangement works for her and works for him and makes them happy, so be it. I really, the age didn't matter to me, right? Mm, that part, 80-year-old can have a relationship with 20-year-old. I don't care either way. But those dynamics, those power dynamics, this sugaring, this over complementing, and this, this idea of this women fighting before before her, and she choosing this arrangement consciously, was just so triggering to me. So I really used it to kind of go through and understand like what is triggering me in this situation, what I can heal, like this idea of this relationship that I witnessed, right? Like what is my relationship to power dynamic in the relationship again? I'm still actually working through it, because there is something there, and it pops up like I'm a rebellious person, but there is something about power, and dealing with power that is very interesting. I think it's also like the coming from the communism, when the power was always bad, and fake, and taking advantage of people, and government, and politicians, right? They were like all collaborating with Soviet Union, in communism. So I think there's that story boiling somewhere in the background. So just an interesting story how sugar daddy situation. I know by the title of the podcast you thought that I had a sugar daddy. No, I wish. I'm just kidding. Oh my god, I don't know if I could like compliment somebody like that. But it just show you like how those situation, these people, this whatever comes up in your life that boosts those emotions and then raises your adrenaline and raises your emotion to the level that it's like you're pissed, you are mad, you are aggravated, you are sad, you are frustrated, you are just angry. Those are these juicy moments, these moments of like, okay, this is where the work needs to be done. There is something there to look at, there is something there to work through, to break through, to unstuck, to discover. And really this situation was just so amazing. I literally, when I started feeling all this shit in me in this car, I was like, thank God, like something is like, still very triggering to me. So I'm kind of still dissecting and going through it. And I know certain things will pop up more, but really this relationship to judgment and power is still something I'm considering in looking at, when it comes to my own view of the world, and what is up there that needs to be worked through. So again, this is just a short funny story to remind you that triggering situation, people, even if it's somebody online. I love when I have come across, again, I haven't done, haven't happened in a while, but when I come across online somebody who is like, oh, like cringing me inside, on any level. At some point there was a woman that was like super weird and crazy on TikTok, and I was like, I couldn't stand it, and I was like, I had to look at it. She was so strong to be seen, like didn't care, and like just could do anything and everything, and didn't care. You know what I mean? Like how she's perceived and how she is seen, and she was seen on such a big stage in this like crazy situations and outfits, and I had to work through that. It was some element of being seen that needed to be healed. So again, next time when somebody triggers you on any capacity, say, welcome, what a pleasure. What are you telling me? What are you bringing here, to work with? And really spend a minute to journal, to analyze it, to take a voice note, to think about it. Where is it coming from? What is it showing me? What is there to work through? Because there's always something to work through in those magical situations. Okay, I think that's it. Until the next time, love, light, and slight bit of shadow, as always.